The biggest double game week of the season is finally here, game week 33, and I have 4 free transfers and 2 chips left in triple captain and bench boost. In this video, I'm going to make my selection on which chip is the best to use and show you how my team lines up for the double game week. Welcome to my channel. I'm your host, Femi. Let's jump into it. Before looking at my team, let's take a look at the Premier League table. Okay, the table is so interesting because there's so many teams that are racing for Europe. We have Arsenal and Man City who are pretty much guaranteed a top 4 place. Top 5 this year gets Champions League. Then we have Manchester United behind them on 55 points, tied with Villa on 55 points. And then there's a gap of 3 points with Liverpool. And then a gap there on 6th is Chelsea at 48 points. And then 2 teams who I mentioned in my last video, Brentford and Everton, who are battling for Europe and tied on 47 points. So there's a lot that can happen here. And with Liverpool now losing Hugo Ekitike, I think they're under threat to lose a Champions League spot. They haven't been playing well. Slot makes the ridiculous decision to continue to bench Mo Salah. I know he's not, performing at a peak level, but it's still Mo Salah. And his lineup choice for the second leg at home and against PSG was just strange to have Salah on the bench and Isak just returning from a huge injury. So I'm not sure how Liverpool does going forward, as their offense is now going to be really stalled without Ekitike. And now, it really opens up the door for a team that I think has a great shot at making Europe. Originally, I had picked Brentford to finish ahead of them, but I think Everton has a huge opportunity. The derby is in game week 33, and we have Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, who I think it could be a sneaky good pick for the run-in. He's playing exceptionally well. He's their talisman, and he just keeps racking up points. He's super cheap. Everyone can get to him. He's at 5.1 million. And I just think that, Everton can get into Europe. That's a huge motivator. They have, teams above them, more established teams, historically top 6 teams that in Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, where their form has just been off. And, Brentford and Everton are 2 surging teams. So when I look at my Game Week 33 draft, we'll take a look at what surprises I might do there. But, I am thinking of Kieran Dewsbury-Hall as a player to bring in quite soon to improve that team. All right, so that's how I'm thinking about the Premier League table and the races in Europe. Now let's take a look at how my team did in Game Week 32. So here's how the team did in Game Week 32. We finished on 70 points, and I just love when a transfer works out. We had an outstanding performance by Royce to get me 11 points. He's been my goalkeeper for such a long time. He was out injured for many, many weeks. He comes back and delivers an 11-pointer. It's just perfect. But the transfer that really saved me and got me the green arrow was Nico Williams at Nottingham Forest. The goal, the 11-pointer. Now they play Burnley at home, Forest. Forest, a team that's fighting for their life to stay up in the Premier League. Nico Williams is a set-and-forget defender, I think. And if you don't have him, you should be strongly considering him. And then the rest of the defense, we had Munoz and Gabriel with 4 points. Van Heck, who will be in the double game week with 5 points. And Diouf with a clean sheet and 6 points. And then in the midfield, Bruno Fernandes, a little bit disappointing on 8 points. Declan Rice with 4 points. And then Semenyo with 2 points. And then Haaland with 2 points. And then Thiago. Thiago breaks out with his brace, and, he's going for a golden boot. So I think Thiago will be another set and forget type player, as, he's in a golden boot race with Haaland. I remember many, many weeks ago, I talked about, him being the golden boot race, but now he's firmly entrenched in it as Haaland has stopped scoring. And so that's really impressive from Thiago, who pretty much missed all of last season. So look at him having this huge bounce back season. And then on the bench, you have Dubravka with 2 points. Saka didn't play at all with 0. Ryan with 2 and Mane with 1. So the bench needs improvement, and that's really where I'm going to be looking at when we get into what chip I'm going to use. Surprise, it is going to be bench boost. And now let's take a look at how I would line up the team for Game Week 33. Okay, so here's my team in its entirety and the transfers that I'm thinking of making. I have 4 free transfers. And I mentioned just a little bit ago that the bench needs improvement. The reason why I'm using bench boost is it's the largest double of the year left. And I really have, with 4 free transfers, the ability to change the team drastically to make, the most gains as possible. I'm top 10K in the world right now. I've had a strong season. Lovely. I would love to push on. Obviously, that's not guaranteed. So let's take a look at what I would do to make the team better. So Mane has to come out. He hasn't been a good pick. He hasn't been doing that thing. He hasn't been scoring. Ryan has been a pick that I need to keep, unfortunately, because he hasn't produce, but with a double game week, he could potentially get something. Diouf, unfortunately, has to be sacrificed. He's been getting clean sheet points, but I can go and get a defender on the double. And then obviously Saka, who can't be counted on in terms of minutes. I have such a loyalty to him, but he hasn't been able to produce this season, so he comes out. So that's 3 transfers out. And the team, can be further reduced. Let's just take out Declan Rice for now. Let's take out the Arsenal assets and keep Gabriel, but let's take out those assets and see what we can do. So one of the first things I would look at is who are one of my top forwards, and he scored against Arsenal in Game Week 32, Krupi Jr. He has 10 goals. He has, a great double, in my opinion, against a Newcastle team that's not playing for anything, and then a home fixture against Leeds. He's a goal scorer. He already has 10 goals on the season. I can see him getting a goal. He's going to definitely do better than Mane from that perspective, so he comes into the squad. And then, when we shift gears and we look at defense, I really like this Biol character at Leeds. He almost had a goal against United. He's in great form, you see, with 7.5. He's super cheap, only 1% selected. And, when you zoom into the Leeds fixtures, they have Burnley at home in Game Week 35. So Wolves at home, Bournemouth away, and then Burnley at home. And then Tottenham after that. So Leeds players become great holds after the blank 34 for them. So Biol comes in, he can get DEFCON, he could probably get a goal. So that's why he comes in. Now in the midfield, this is where it gets interesting because you could really go for some upside players. In Brighton, when you look at their team, they've been playing quite well. Gomez has looked interesting for me. He's one of the highest scoring players when you look at midfielders under 5.5 million, which he is. He's at 5. Actually, even if you go, let's go to 5 million and see. So he's in the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top 7 in terms of points. And, I think I like him because the upside, he can get goals. So in terms of, when you look at, goal scoring midfielders, he's right up there for that price bracket. And let's see, goals scored. Yep, he has 5. So I like him and he'll probably come in. And then we have to go to my man, Kieran Dearsbury Hall. He has 126 points. Like, he's been on such a tear. And when you look at the Everton fixtures, Liverpool at home, which is a great fixture for them, a derby, they can really get after Liverpool, who's really reeling right now. West Ham away, who's fighting for their lives. Man City at home, which is a huge game for them to qualify for Europe. I think they're going to be up for that game. And then, they have a lot of, home fixtures, 3 in the next 5. So I like him. I like him as a catalyst. He can get me DEFCON. So this is how the team would look right now. Look from back to front. Royce doesn't have the greatest fixture against a resurgent Aston Villa side, but you got to play your goalkeepers. So Dubravka in the double, Royce, Gabriel away to City. He could get something DEFCON. He can get a headed goal. Van Heck, where I think Brighton has a great double. Munoz at home against West Ham. Williams at home against Burnley. I have a great defenders in Game Week 33, and then Biol at home against Wolves. So look at my defenders, these 3 playing some of the worst teams in the league. So that's all bodes well. And then midfield, they have high upside in terms of goals for Gomez. We have Dewsbury Hall at home against Liverpool, and Semenyo, who's potentially my captain pick. And then Bruno Fernandes away to Chelsea, a Chelsea side really struggling. And then Ryan is, the wild card here because he, hasn't been producing. And then up front, Thiago, Haaland, and Krupi Jr. So that would be my team in Game Week 33 with a bench boost chip. Let me know what your thoughts are. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe below. And I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.